Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Here to go over, pick the bones out of the Merseyside derby defeat. Everton nil, Liverpool 2, unfortunately. Joined by Owen Parks. And yeah, another episode with the same script but different actors that we've seen for years and years now. So, Owen, what happened? Take us through the. Well, we'll start from the beginning. We'll go through the team selection. What did you make of the team selection? The same team as the Arsenal game, but with one major change. What did you make of that when you saw the lineups come out?
I weren't too keen on it, to be honest, and I never I've had this thing now for a number of years where I've just not commented on the lineups because I don't know. But for this one, I weren't at all keen with the decision to start Alice Sims. Not even over anyone. I just think that's a horrible game for Everton, for experienced players to throw someone who's never played Premier League football and is 22, and I don't know. I would have gone Neil Maupay, I think, or Damari Gray, but I don't know. I think we could have had anyone up there, and it's the same old issues. We've got forwards at the club who, if they're going to thrive, it's going to be with the ball at the feet. But as we evidently saw last night, none of our defenders or midfielders can necessarily play. So we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. And it goes back to recruitment, not bringing in a striker in January or even in the summer. But I think the bigger picture is we have to park this on quickly. We know our record here, we know there's a bigger fish to fry. And for me, we just need to forget about it and move on. Not ideal, not great, but at the end of the day, it's it is what it is. I think if Tarkowski scores, I think for the first sort of half an hour, we have an half decent shape about us. I think we're defending pretty well. We're not going anywhere. We had the same issues with the ball we had the second half. But yeah, I think if we score, get our noses in front, it could be a different game. I don't think people. There's this guy on Twitter who said it was the worst ever derby performance, but he must have only been watching from when we won one because I couldn't name you 10 worse than that. But yeah, but I forget about it quickly. I'm very philosophical with matches, but funny enough, I've been completely philosophical about every Everton match Everton have ever played from when we lost that game and they played their under 12s. From then on, I've I forfeited to ever get angry about an Everton match, apart from complete road rage at some of the Frank Lampard games towards the end. I've just it just goes over my head now. Games, I think. When I was young and was 15, 16, and yeah, matches used to linger for a week, but we lose them now, and I've already forgotten about them by full time. Um, I think one win and two for the manager is very good. Like I said, I didn't understand the Ellison selection, but it is what it is. I think we my sort of takeaway going forward is we probably need to play Neil Maupay with someone closer to him. Maybe change the shape slightly for the Leeds game. I think they're gonna keep Michael Scabula and charge for that one, which he looked in decent shape under him. To be fair, the first two games, but we've seen before how these things, the longer you leave them, the worse they get. Hopefully that's the case for us, and hopefully we win on Saturday. We forget about this game very quickly, like I already have. But yeah, some people it takes longer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel very much the same as yourself on a lot of the points. I'll start from the beginning. The selection of Ellis Sims, I was surprised about that. A lot of people had been asking for that, thinking, it was as simple as just a like for like because he's bigger and taller than Neil Maupay, that he'd do a similar sort of job as Calvert-Lewin, even if he wouldn't be as good as him. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin not even making the bench, which is, well, that's even more disappointing than the result in many ways, just because it speaks to a longer absence. I mean, let's be honest. these away Merseyside derbies, the Anfield games, you don't go into them expecting to get points, especially, in modern times as Liverpool have gone, from strength to strength and Everton have got worse. But the games that are coming up, we're gonna need to find solutions because Calvert-Lewin seems like he won't be back, as quickly as we'd like. I felt sorry for Sims. I could see what the manager was going for. He kept the same midfield, which was the key thing, as the Arsenal game, and I think he wanted them to do a similar job, but the. Ellis Sims was completely isolated at times. Like, he was winning the odd flick on, and he was, doing his job that he was instructed to do. But there was just no one around him. Everyone was a little bit too nervous to get up the pitch with him, and in case he got broke on, which obviously
do right to be.
Do right to be in a lot of ways. But yeah, Ellis Sims, he's got a role to play in the games coming up. I don't think he's what people think he is. He's not going to be a Calvert-Lewin surrogate. He's not that type of player, even if he is bigger than Neal Maupay. I think Neal Maupay is probably going to start the next game just based on the performance of Sims. He didn't acquit himself, but it's not really his fault because he was given a thankless task. I mean, it's not...
The reason why I say Maupay, as I said this to you before, he knows the spaces and places to occupy himself in the Premier League. He knows where to drop in, and it's not great. I mean, he'd be like the last striker in the Premier League out on up front, but he knows his way around it. Ellis Sims, it's like he's on his own. There's no one within a mile of him. He's got three shirts around him. And he doesn't know where to go and pick the ball up. It's just, I thought he had a good first 10 minutes, to be fair to him. And I was slowly in my words, but the problem was we were hoofing it to him and he couldn't get control of it. And then we've got midfielders and defenders who can't pass the ball. They look petrified trying to pass the ball. I think we were caught between about three ideas. I can understand why we went from one to the other, because when we tried one, it weren't working, so it makes sense to go and try the other. For me, I keep it very simple. I go from back to front very quickly and I get men round the striker, because even though Maupay and Damari Gray, and they're not they're like strength in numbers, aren't they, if you put them together? I just can't understand. I just can't understand why we would start playing a bit more when we've got like the bulk of the team can't do it. I think you can rectify the sort of lack of hold-up ability by having greater strength and depth up front in terms of having two up there. But I know what we're talking about, and this is going to sound slightly desperate, but I know he was like properly crap, but I keeping Rondon mightn't have been the worst shout until we got someone in, because he's experienced and he knows, and he could hold the ball up at least, but he just had nothing with his feet. I just think that was it was probably a mistake to let him go until we had someone in there, the door signed. I don't know. Because he would probably be starting now, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just think on that topic specifically, I think the club just haven't got a clue what they're doing in terms of the macro, big picture stuff, because I was under a different manager. If they'd have could look into the future and realise we're going to sack this manager, which I think everyone except the board could see was going to come soon, that Sean Dyche might have found a use for Solomon Rondon. I mean, he was shite. Let's have it right, but he's better.
I'm not rectifying this.
Yeah, I mean, what they should have done is just with Calvert-Lewin's injury problems, they should have got someone in January. It was just outrageous that they never. But just picking up on what you said there about the way they passed, like you could tell in the beginning of the game that Everton were really, really on to what they needed to do out of possession. Obviously, the game plan was not to have a lot of the ball, which we never. But then when they got on the ball, they sort of just didn't know what to do. They were very loose in possession, giving the ball away really cheaply. And then, you get your first 20 minutes and, everything's all right. But then I just found that, and I mean, I said at the beginning of the video, it's happened for years at Anfield. Like the team, variety of different managers, variety of different players, everything. And they go to Anfield and they shrink, and Liverpool grow. So Liverpool's players are playing they weren't even that good, Liverpool, to be honest. We were worse, obviously, but you see Liverpool in recent years. We could have put 10 past us if they were playing like they were. They can, but they were just growing and becoming a better version of themselves as the game went on, and we were getting worse. Our three centre midfielders who ran Arsenal off the pitch couldn't do anything. Every time they got the ball, they'd give it away, or they'd be turning back to the centre backs, desperate not to give it away, and they just didn't know what to do when they were in possession, because every time they got it and tried to get it up to Ellis Sims, it had come straight back to them, and they just had to reset.
They're like rabbit headlights, weren't they? You didn't know.
Yeah.
You just couldn't see the wood for the trees.
Yeah, I just, and obviously the goal, the first Liverpool goal. If any passage of football, those 15 seconds sum up this rivalry. We whip in a good set piece. James Tarkowski, it puts a header against their post, drops to Dwight McNeil in the box, who rather than hit it high, hard and high to try and get it in the corner of the goal, just sort of tries to lash it into the 6-yard box, open for a ricochet, and just plants it right to one of their players, who then hit us on a rapid break. And that's obviously Liverpool are excellent at that. It was the first time they'd really caught us out of shape. Motor up the pitch. Darwin Núñez, one of their fastest players. Idrissa Gana Gueye, he's too nice. I don't get why he doesn't just try and foul them and take the yellow card there. It's not last man. He wouldn't have got it sending off. I'd like to see them be a little bit streetwise, a little bit more streetwise, a little bit less, soft. Michaelenko doesn't cover himself in glory. There's 3 players in the middle, and he's going over to help Idrissa Gueye double up on the runner. It's like, come on, mate, make yourself in the middle. So if it lands to the wrong one, you're there to put a block in. And then Jordan Pickford, I mean, it would have been a lot of work to keep it out no matter what he did. But I think the choice of trying to run to the touchline, he's not the reason we conceded, but he didn't half make it easy. Yeah, he's defo kept Salah on his fantasy football team, hasn't he? Because he was making sure that Salah was not squaring that ball and he was going to score himself. So we're 1-0 down. We're a little bit unfortunate.
1-0 down.
Yeah, we're a little bit unfortunate because we've been hit on the break, and we could have scored ourselves. Liverpool then are in complete command of the game. We go in at half time. Obviously, whatever instructions could have been given at half time have gone out the window very quickly, because we've conceded quite quickly from another break early in the second half, and then it's another catalogue of errors. There's opportunities to foul the player to stop the attack, and obviously Connor Cody makes a mistake by letting the ball run across him, which is, I mean, I know some people are going a little bit off Connor Cody of late because he's not had a good performance. If he had a few performances weren't that good, but that's a howler for a player of his experience to let it go across and just let someone steal it on him on the back post. He can put his foot through it and get rid of it, but again, like you said, he's caught in 2 minds about what to do, and we're 2-0 down, and then that's it.
The whole team were really all night, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
We were caught between about 3 ideas.
I'm not writing off any player based on that. Much, much better Everton teams have gone to Anfield against much, much worse Liverpool teams and been even worse than that last night.
Yeah,
it's not worth getting bent out of shape over. Yet no one likes to lose derbies. Everyone gets angry. Everyone has to take stick off their mates and their family and what have you. But let's be real. It doesn't mean that that's it. Now we're definitely down, and this player's crap and that player's crap. We've James Tarkowski and Connor Cody have been, for me, 2 of our most consistent performers, and certainly our most consistent partnership in the team. And the 2 of them honked all night. Tarkowski had the worst game I've seen him have in an Everton shirt. Just completely.
It's the worst game I've seen him have.
Yeah, he was just all over the place. But the game's over as a contest with that goal, and then at that point it's just an exercise in not conceding again. The team, 30 minutes to go, Everton had no belief that they were going to score again. I could think that was just obvious from the body language. Jamie Carragher on commentary for Sky Sports said Everton just haven't turned up for this game, and that encapsulates it. They've not turned up as themselves. Their best version of themselves, rather, like they did at Arsenal. They've been cowed by Liverpool, and it's just a case of trying to get out of town at that point. And then now the important thing is to move on to the next game. It's no point dwelling on it and whinging about it. We got beat by Liverpool. They're a better team, and they were better on the night, so there can't be any complaints. So it's just about now not letting that snowball like we've done with previous derby defeats and making a statement in the next game that it's gone now. We're gonna, we've got bigger. Like you said yourself, we've got bigger fish to fry. We've got bigger problems to deal with. We've got a run of games now at Goodison Park where we need to really be taking some serious points to pull ourselves out of this relegation zone. We went into these 2 games with Arsenal and Liverpool, and I think anyone would have took any points you can get out of them. I genuinely thought, even with a new manager bounce, I thought that's just 2 defeats. We need to get out of the way, and the real work starts today, the day after the derby. And then we'll, start our fight back against Leeds. We're ahead of schedule. We beat Arsenal. We've played Liverpool, lost, not put in a good performance, but there's no reason why we can't, get a reaction from the team for it. They need to show us that now.
Yeah, I mean, I've come to the conclusion since the game that these have been 2 difficult games, and they're definitely 3 points gained from the 2 games. My worry going forward is I just don't know where the goals are going to come from in this team, because the history books doesn't suggest that there's going to be any, and that is a worry. I think the quicker we can get Dominic Calvert-Lewin back fit, the better. But you just got to be playing game by game with him, aren't you? You just not. It's like when we had James Rodriguez. He was like, "Is he fit this week?" I think that's what we've got. It's ridiculous we're having to do this, but it's what it is. I think, but it will be probably a different proposition at home. I think the players will just naturally be more tuned to the situation at home, and Saturday's probably a much bigger game anyway than today. Even like just all around, nothing's decided on any individual game. But if we could win Saturday, that would do us the world of good. And I think, we've got a few home games coming up now. We need to win one of them.
Yeah, definitely. The survival, whether we win at Anfield, likes a Leeds at home and around. And as you say, it's about goals. Obviously, set pieces will be important. We nearly scored from another one in this game and scored one against Arsenal. And then there's not very many players who've got any records of scoring goals in the Premier League. Decore, Gray and Neil Maupay have got modest records of scoring in the Premier League, which is better than some of the other players we've got. So, it's going to be difficult, but we're going to need to find a way of doing it, find a system that suits us, because Calvert-Lewin is going to be one of those things now where he's a nice to have, he's not a must-have. We're not going to be able to rely on him. He wasn't on the bench last night. He's come off with hamstring trouble, which could be, several weeks out. And if we do get him back, we want to make sure we can have him for like a spell of games rather than get him back for one game and then lose him again, because he'll be far more valuable to us if we've got, say, 6 games at the end of the season and we need to take points out of them. And if we're on we've got 9 games left and we play him for that 9th game, but then the rest of them he's not there for. We need to basically cut our cloth accordingly. And it is a joke that we're even in this position, because we could have easily not been, we should have not been, but it's too late now anyway. We'll leave it at that. We'll go on to other things now. And if you got anything else to add about the Merseyside derby,
I've never want to talk about this game again, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it this time. Got to be done. So let us know what you think in the comments below, and once again, thank you for joining us on the Toffee Blues and another season, another Anfield defeat.